And we are live. Hi, everybody. Hi, Elena. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Jessica. Very nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again, too. So, hi, Elena. We'll do a little intro of Elena in a minute, but I just want to say hi to all our viewers first. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Real People Wellness Talks. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. I'm so curious who of our audience are students. If you're a student, why don't you say what you're studying? And if you are an applicant or you're interested in UO People, why don't you let us know where you live so we can differentiate between the two. Okay, so hi. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining, and especially to Elena. By the way, for those of you who are interested in learning more about UO People, there is a link in the description of this event that will take you to our website. So, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. You can ask questions for Elena. You can ask questions about UO People, whatever it is. We are here for you. Okay, let's start with our guest of honor, Elena. Elena, why don't you tell us about yourself, your profession, and a little bit, just a brief intro.
Okay, so I'm Elena. I'm Italian. Right now, I'm also living in Italy, and I apply at the University of the People for the health science degree. So I just started my second year, but there is still a way long to come to the end, but still I'm really enjoying it. And today I'm here because I'm a certified relaxation therapist. And even though right now is not my main profession, and I know people say, why you're not? Everybody's so stressed. Yeah. But the thing is, like 99.9999 people are stressed, but nobody really takes an action or tries to get out of this stress or is willing to follow a relaxation therapy or pay for it. So, but anyway, the main reason I decided, it was like about 13 years ago, I decided to get a certification and study as a relaxation therapist is because myself, I needed that. I got very much interested in relaxation therapy in general when I started to meditate. And because I'm a daughter of a scientist, I always wanted, even when I have my spiritual phases in my life, I always try to connect with the scientific part of it. And I'm a lover, as I told already previously in our interview less than a year ago, I'm a lover of neuroscience. And so that's the reason why I became a relaxation therapist. Right now, mostly I help people sometime across some people, they need some help. But my main profession is a teacher. I am a language teacher and I'm a ballet teacher because in my previous life, I used to be a professional ballet dancer and singer.
Yeah, so the thing with the ballet is you have to retire quite early as a ballerina. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, the thing, fortunately, because I was also a singer, I from ballet, I transferred into musical theater, which is a much longer career. And then I wanted to start a family. And when I got my daughter 15 years ago, I thought like, okay, now I'd like to be on the other side of the table, so to say. Yeah. And so I was teaching, working in casting, and and then I got interested in psychology and relaxation therapy. And so let's say I always like to learn more things at the same time.
Yeah, well, we know that about you. You're always learning. Tell me, Elena, about what is autogenic training? You mentioned that this is something that that you help people with. I'm so curious what that is and how it can help, people who are under stress.
So very important is, first of all, to talk about stress. Because stress, there are different types of stress. There is a positive stress, which is also called eustress, and there is the stress that we perceive as negative and it can be damaging, which is also called distress. So all of us probably experience both of them. If we want to mention an example of positive stress, for example, you get a new job that you were really looking forward, or you become a mother and you want to be a mother since very long time. So all these new experience, they require a lot of energy, mentally and physically, but you perceive it as a positive stress because it's something that it gives you, charge, and you're happy about it. Then there is distress when you're really like under pressure, when you feel that you're not able or capable to face a situation, an event, and this distress has different nature for each individual. We can't really generalize because what is stressful for me, it might be not stressful for someone else, or it might be perceived as positive stress, So the sources where the stress comes from are really different. Of course, the kind of stress that I can have, it's very different from someone who is living in a country where there is a war, or someone who is facing starvation. So there are these big, also very small differences. But the problem is that how we physiologically react to the stress is the same. Doesn't matter if I'm in starvation, doesn't matter if it's just because my boss is stressing me, or I can't manage my weekly deadline, University of the People, Yeah. So, and I'm stressed, and then my body triggers a reaction, a response, which is the same. And this response, it's called like HPA axis. HPA axis, that stands for hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. What is this? It sounds very complicated, but it's not. Because I know that visually it's easier, I took something with me.
Oh, look at you.
I'm a teacher. Yes. And as you can see, sorry, because the camera does the opposite. This process starts exactly in our brain, in this part of the brain, which is called hypothalamus, which release a hormone called corticotropin. And then it binds with a gland, which is called pituitary gland. And then these receptors, they travel in our body, they go to other adrenals glands, and there we produce cortisol. This is also other stress hormones, they're also called cortisol or adrenaline, noradrenaline. Everybody heard about adrenaline for sure. Like when something happens, could be nice, could be bad, and you have this butterfly and, this feeling. Right. And then when they cortisol and the other stress hormones, they travel in our blood. And when we reach a specific amount, then again, the cortisol brings it back, like exert negative feedback to our hypothalamus, then pituitary, and then we go back to what is called homeostasis. Homeostasis, it means we go back to normal. And this is what happens when we are stressed. Why I'm explaining this? Because I found also something very pretty. And for example, here you see a little student that is really panicking, like, oh my God, I have 3 exams. This is the hypothalamus. And then it releases the thing. And then it goes to the pituitary. Oh no, binge watching wasn't a good choice, And then it goes to the adrenals. And then from the adrenals, the what I was talking about, the negative feedback. Oh, you two, shut up. This is when I found this. I said, this is a very nice example for our students. That's what it's like. Oh my God, I didn't submit my assignments. Okay, so the problem is when these stress hormones start to travel in our body, they trigger some physiological reaction, like my heartbeat goes faster, my breathing is faster, my pulse delayed, I don't have saliva anymore, And I feel very like trembling, because practically our body, what it does, you have to be ready to react, because this system from nature has been thought to react in acute situation, like when we were in the forest hunting, you see a tiger, probably you heard about fight or flight reaction. Exactly.
Yes.
You have to decide if you're going to manage either to fight this tiger or just run, you know? That's very Italian. Or just run. And then your muscle needs blood concentration. The glucose has to raise in your blood because you need these energies and so on. But the problem is also that some function, they are suppressed in that moment, which could be digestion and immune system response. So short-term reaction to stress, it's not a problem. It has been thought through from nature that we cope with that. But when we are constantly exposed to stress, what happens? We constantly produce these stress hormones. And then we start to have problems with our health. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. And everybody, I think, or most of the people experience that when they had a very prolonged, stressful period, they're very sensitive to viruses. They get sick frequently, or they got gastritis, or they stop sleeping well at night, anxiety disorders, depression, and so on and on. Each person also finds his own way to express physiologically their stress. And this happens also to students when they feel under pressure and they think they don't cope. And then, of course, they push themselves, they want to succeed, because this is it's such a big topic. There are so many things to talk about. But mainly, when we are under stress, we start also to damage our health, physiological health. So from psychosomatic, after a while, if it becomes chronic, it becomes just somatic, so just in our bodies. And then it's very hard to get rid of this kind of symptoms and or sickness, whatever it takes. So what I suggest is, like, the symptoms are very clear, because another thing, when you're very really like you have a burnout, probably you also heard about this expression, you start to have problem with your memory. It's very hard to concentrate. So you're starting to have all those symptoms that make your life and your work or whatever you're doing even harder. And then the big mistake that most of the people, they keep making this, they push themselves even harder. And so it's the famous cat that bites its own tail.
Right.
So relaxation therapy, it's helpful because it teaches you some techniques how to, first of all, to relax, and then to learn the tools to prevent to get stressed. Because that's the point. You don't want to just react in the moment when it's too late or when you're ready. I mean, you can still help yourself, but you want to prevent. So there are many different techniques because each person might react differently. There is a meditation. Usually in medicine is used the mindful meditation. There is autogenic training and progressive muscle relaxation from Jacobson. And then some people, they do yoga. And we had other people, practitioners, they were talking about yoga here. So, and why we do that? Because usually when we are stressed, so our mental world, let's call it in this way, triggers changes in our body. So through some techniques where you rationally start to change some reaction in your body, the goal is to get to make the changes also in your mental world. So it's the reverse pattern. And meditation, on the other side, it's more about to detach from the person who get too much involved in this very anxious inner voice, and so on. And then progressive muscle relaxation from Jacobson is for the people they have problem to stay still. So they have to be more active with the muscles. So it's very specific. It will take a very long time. And so, but the thing is, usually when you want to start a relaxation therapy, you talk with therapists and you explain, you display what's your main problem and your personality. Because I think, for example, for me, it was very helpful autogenic training and meditation, and less helpful muscle relaxation from Jacobson. So, but each person is different. So if you have some questions, sorry, because I always talk too much.
No, wow, I did have a lot of questions, but you keep answering them. It's amazing. No, this is really fascinating. So everyone handles stress differently, and autogenic training, I'm still not clear what it is though. You could just give like a brief brief definition of what autogenic training is.
Autogenic training is a way to induce relaxation physically. It's kind of like usually it's very good that you are guided, and then you have to learn it by yourself, and you have to apply it whenever you want. You have, let's say, the therapist. You have to sit in a very comfortable position. You can lay down, or it depends on the person how he feels better. Closing the eyes. And then it's like you are chanting a kind of mantras, but it's nothing spiritual. It's like you have to repeat sentences. At first, it's your relaxation therapist who does it for you. For example, now you feel very calm. Now you feel, and then it's usually it's like up to 6 times. And at the beginning, you think it's very funny. And you're kind of laughing inside yourself when you stop. And then you start with body parts. And at the beginning, you don't start with many body parts, because it's a muscle, the brain. You have to start slowly, like a bit very simple. So usually you start with your right arm. And you can start, my right arm is very heavy. And then you repeat up to 6 times. And then you feel that your brain is concentrated in feeling your arm heavy. And then you start with the left, and then you start with the leg, then with the torso. And then in between, you always have to repeat these sentences again, like, I feel very calm, I feel very calm. And then slowly, because it's a little bit hypnotic, your muscles start to relax, or your brain is so focused in concentrating what you're hearing, or if you're telling yourself the sentence later on when you apply the training of autogenic training to yourself. And this relaxation in the body automatically associate with mental status. Mm-hmm. It's induced. And the good thing is that if you practice every day on and on, then you become very good expert that you can apply it in any situation. Autogenic training is very useful when you have panic attack, or if you have, you're very anxious, because anxiety, panic attack are disorder. They are very, very affecting normal life. And they're terrible. Who made the experience probably can confirm that it's a very devastating experience. And they come whenever they feel like it means our brain make association. Sometimes you have a panic attack in the moment that you don't see, why should I get a panic attack now? But the brain is very tricky. If you had a panic attack in let's say in a specific situation where there was a specific smell, or you saw a specific color, or whatever, and then you find yourself in a place where you smell the same smell, or you see the same thing, the brain associates with the experience, because of course the association that we make is always the one they are the strongest. And a panic attack, I assure you, is very strong. It's very strong. there is a scientific, I mean, I don't want to go in details which organ is in our brain, otherwise you're gonna like click basta Elena. I don't want to get too detailed, but that's how it works, you know.
Okay.
So
yeah. No, that's really interesting. Now, if somebody was interested in learning more about autogenic training, I mean, somebody as in myself, I'm sure we have others who are interested. Is this like something you can go on YouTube and type in and you can find like guided autogenic training sessions?
You find a lot of things. You can even buy tapes, and for sure. Of course, I think a guided one with someone who really knows how it works, because, and also you have to talk with the therapist, because there are some, or not side effects, but like indications. You say that is the right word, like.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, like there are people, maybe they're clinically depressed.
Oh, right. Well,
you want, or they, people, they are bipolar, or you want first to have the confirmation from the physician that this person should do these kind of things, and sometimes you don't even need such a diagnosis. Sometimes I think if you guide it, you might feel a certain point of discomfort, and finding yourself alone in that situation, it's not really the best. You want to have a person beside you. You talk to first, that you told why you want to have the autogenic training, and just to explain how your situation, also a little bit your clinical background, if there is something that we have to be aware of, that's the thing. But of course, you find a lot of things in the internet, or I mean, I started meditation like that, but then I felt like it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And so 15 years ago, I just went in a real retreat to Thailand. And it was really a very enlightening experience. No, it was very, very important. It was a center from Goenka. They are all over the world. They don't ask for money. And it's a very hard experience, but it really flipped my perspective. Like, I started to see myself and the world from a different corner, let's say. So in my case, I'm very grateful that I made that experience, and I took 10 days of my life to do that. But it was hard.
Was it like a Vipassana, and maybe I'm not saying that right, like where you have to be silent?
Yes, you have to sit 10 hours a day.
And you're like meditating for hours and hours. It's so interesting. So another thing about anxiety is, a lot of people all over the world have experienced more stress and anxiety than usual, considering, that we have these uncertain times, that are happening right now. What are some physical signs of stress? Like, how can we recognize if someone is really suffering, and like, what is the best way we can help them?
Yeah, well, usually you realize when, like the symptoms that I told you even before, like maybe they start not to sleep well, and they have problems with concentrating. And then one, in my own experience as well, and with many other people I talk to, they see problems in a much bigger picture. That everything becomes a challenger. Also, very basic, easy tasks, they become like a mountain that I can't overcome. So this is a one symptom. There are people, they do, like they have the stomach. That also an experience, unfortunately, I did, like gastritis. They don't digest, or some people, they have a burnout. They cry very easily. It's it's very hard. And the problem is also, this is something that I really want to tell about relaxation therapy. It's not about just to, okay, I start relaxation therapy because I want to have a better performance and feel better. What we forget that we need what I call a nothing time. We never stop. And this is the biggest problem because relaxation therapy at the end, what it helps you when you're going when you do the autogenic training, meditation, whatever you do, you force yourself to take some time, you know, for yourself. Then nobody has to disturb. You have to switch your telephone off. You have to tell the people, don't even think about entering my room right now or whatever, you know. And because nowadays, what I see, sadly, there is a lot of commercial about, you know, mind setting therapy, improve your performance, improve here, improve there, and there, and there. And then it's like, no, that's the point. We have to learn to stop.
Right.
Stop.
Right. Yeah.
Take nothing time. Sometimes it's nice. You sit there and someone, what are you doing? Nothing.
Yeah, no, it's because we're also programmed to like be as productive as possible. And like sometimes, like even I know myself, like I really have to carve out that time and make a point to like, you know, just do nothing. And it can be very difficult for people.
It is very difficult. And this COVID, the pandemic was something that it was incredible because so many people all over the world, they were forced to stop, to have time in their hands, and then they have to decide what to do with that. And this time also, they didn't have to feel guilty.
Right.
Because usually you take, okay, say, I take a break, this is my time, I don't want, but then, you know, socially, you are so instructor since you're baby, oh, you're wasting your time, you have this time, you should do this and that and that. But then when they told you at the beginning, especially the beginning, when we didn't know that these things would have gone that long, then they just told us, you have to stay 2 weeks at home. Right. Don't go out. Do your shopping now. And then that's it. Then people, I experienced so many different reactions. I mean, there were people, okay, they were worried about the financial, but at the beginning, not that much because we were just talking about 2 weeks. Then, of course, you know, we prolonged 1 year. But the thing is that we got really worried about. You know what I mean? That we really got worried about. No, but the thing is, they were forced, and they didn't have to feel guilty. And then they saw that these things was going on a little bit longer. And I have also some family members, they were really like, oh my God, they were like, I feel so lost. What if, and whatever. And they start to have a real crisis, but not because of the pandemic in the moment itself. The crisis was that they stopped and they started to feel themselves.
Right.
To give space to all what happening, you know, within yourself. This is the thing, that we are so under pressure. We are so distracted all the time with so many tasks. Then at the end, when you have time for yourself, either you enjoy and you think like, oh, wow, look, I should do that. I have people also that after the pandemic, now they are kind of like, oh, I don't want to go back to what I was doing before, you know? So right. Other people, they were really, they had to face themselves, and they realized that they don't feel comfortable with themselves while they're doing nothing. They need distraction. So right. Issues are coming up. So that's why relaxation therapy in this way, it's a milder way than the pandemic to start to get in touch with yourself. And by the way, the studies, they also show that through meditation and meditative practice, it really enforces your immune system. And you can even give a big support in healing processes. So in America, actually, they are very good with this applying meditation clinics for people that have very invasive therapy like chemotherapy, people that are facing major sicknesses. They see that the side effects are much less sometimes when they really practice meditation. There is a lot of information that you can find through books on the internet. So anyway, something that it's beneficial for sure. And the students, I mean, we get stressed. So the thing is,
not easy.
it is hard, and especially it's very hard to acknowledge how stressed we are. This is also like relaxation therapy brings awareness of what it really stresses you, because sometimes we are not aware what is the cause, the source of our stress, or we think it's something, but it's just masking something deeper, you know? And while, for example, in meditation, you observe your breathing, and then of course you have 1,000 of thoughts like a TV with a remote, you know? And then you always have to go back to your breathing. And what I realized, I used to suffer chronic sinusitis, and I was very sick. And then when I was in this retreat, and in the meditation, vipassana meditation, you have to do your body scan. So just observing the feeling that you feel in your body. For the very first time, I really felt my sickness. I could feel the difference between my right part of the face, which was the one more affected, from the left side. And then it was kind of like, oh, okay, becoming aware. And so you can visualize. Visualization is also something that we do a lot in relaxation therapy. You just have to visualize. You create a journey to tell your body how how you wish you would feel. Like someone with a migraine and horrible headache usually have one side painful and the other one no. So when I try to help you, someone with migraine, I always say, try to concentrate where you don't have pain. And tell your body if it's possible to transfer the condition that you have in the part of the body which is not painful to the side where you have pain. So you have to create your tools to cope, with pain and stress. And
definitely. For the body scans, I found this app. I mentioned it before. It's called Insight Timer. I don't know if you know this app, but you can do a body scan on there. Also, I'm sure YouTube has body scans. For those who don't know what a body scan, it's I'm sure you could explain it a lot better than I can, but it's basically like a meditation, but a guided it can be like a guided meditation, but it's more about like feeling your body, and like the descriptions or the guided meditations that I've done in the past are very much like, focus on your knee. How does your knee feel? And then it's like, I guess the idea is to relax you and to make you connect with your body. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's observing what they used to say also, you're not the thinker anymore, you're the observer of the thinker. So you get caught up in your thoughts, which is normal. I mean, probably Dalai Lama is very good at not getting caught up, but I'm not that good. And anyway, but then it's not a problem because you don't have to be judgmental with yourself. You just have to, okay, I was caught up in my thought, in my inner voice. Now I come back to my breathing. And then it happens again. I come back to my breathing. And then I hear the noise. Okay, it's just a noise. It's just, to learn not to get irritated or, with what it's around yourself. And then in the moment that you just let it be, okay, that was a loud noise. Oh, maybe it was annoying. Okay, why was it annoying? What did I feel? For example, oh, I felt kind of adrenaline. Oh, that's interesting. So in the moment that you're already becoming so analytical, what's happening? this emotional, like, why they're not silent while I'm meditating, it just fades,
Right.
it fades out. And it's just about that, to bring this awareness that, okay, this is what it is, and I have the tools to cope with all this. And then when you start, for example, I was realizing while meditating then some specific thoughts, they were making my breathing faster. Uh-huh. I was like, okay, let's think about that after my meditation. Why is this thing affecting me? So it's a very good way also to get into self therapy as well,
Yeah.
and also to to stop lying to yourself, because you want to be always right. You want
Yeah.
to be always right. You find all the good explanation, but then when you for 10 hours a day you sit and you meditate,
Wow.
then
Good for
it
you.
comes to a point, you can't lie to yourself anymore, and then you start to say, oh man, that was very dumb of me. Oh man, that was just pride. Oh, or like, oh, I should handle it a different way, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, also going back, so to relax, especially in stressful time concerning university people, any university as a student, the good thing through relaxation techniques practice, you also realize more easily when you have too much on your plate, and you have to be brave, because nowadays we have this big word fail, failing. If I drop a course, or I failed. No, it's very brave to admit when you don't manage something or that you need help. That's the first steps to a good path to healing, to have a better life. Because if we start to push things, I'm gonna do this and this, and I want to do this and that course and that, and my assignment, that, and then you manage, but then either you become sick or your marks are bad, or don't be afraid. I took 2 leave of absence. That's it. What can I do? Because I knew that if I would have kept studying in those 2 terms where I had new tasks in my jobs and I really have no time, it would have been a disaster, either for my university or for my health. I had to choose. So, and then
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I take a leave of absence. Now, when I'm back, I feel like in 2 days I have all my assignments done, because I gave the chance to my body, my brain, to recover energies. You know.
Yeah, nobody should have to suffer. And I think it's really important. I'm going to wrap up because usually I keep these to 20 minutes, but we went
Sorry.
time. No, it's good. No, I think it's really important. You had a lot of really great things to say, Elena, and I really appreciate it. But I think it's really important to keep talking about our stresses and mental health. And, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I think everyone I encourage everyone to be open with each other and accepting, and you can always reach out to your advisor or your instructor if you're struggling. We're here to help. And yeah, I'm not sure. I think that's about it. Elena, do you have any final thoughts?
Mm-hmm. No, it's just like, I hope it helped a little bit, and maybe the only things when I talk about these things, that the people realize that we are not alone. Just the people don't shut out, don't speak out,
Good.
but actually,
Yeah.
in a way or another, we had to deal with stress, anxiety, some with other symptoms, and so you can always reach out, and probably they will see my name and
Yeah.
Facebook or whatever, and I'm very willing, if they have some questions that maybe I can answer, maybe not, but we can refer to someone that can help them. But don't be ashamed to admit, first of all, to yourself, that sometimes you need help, that sometimes we don't manage, or we need to take something off our plate. This is really, really important, because yeah, for all the reason that I already explained, I don't want to keep going.
Yeah, no.
I mean, if there's any wish to have another conversation, I'm always very willing, and I enjoy talking with Jessica about it.
Yeah, Elena, thank you so much. Someone just asked if there was a cat behind me. It wasn't a cat. It was my dog.
Ah,
He was just stretching. He's like, "Where's my food?
I
Why
have
aren't?"
two pets as well.
Okay, yeah. He's like, Where's my food?" That one. Anyways, okay, Elena, thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, you can, DM us. You can add a comment. Elena's name is on Instagram, so I tagged her, so I'm sure it would be okay if you ask some questions. Nora, I can assure you my dog is not stressed. I don't know if anyone's seen The Big Lebowski, but my dog would be the main character in The Big Lebowski. He's just the chillest dog ever. Okay, everyone. Thank you, Elena. It was a pleasure. We really appreciate all your interesting information. He's like, feed me.
Thank you so much to you as well.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.